Hello. Good evening. How are you guys doing? Hi, Duck. Hello, my friend. Hello. It is a good day. Don't mind me having the Litecoin Bitcoin chart open on the 5-minute. That was a mistake. We should not talk about Litecoin. It's always the end of everything. So we shall ignore that. But yeah, price action is good. Altcoin price action is excellent. New times. Plentiful times are abound. So I don't know. I don't speak English. Our ETH packs are finally moving. Yeah, they've been doing really well. Thank you, Lord. I can catch Duck live. Thank you. Hope you and your family doing well, brother. Yeah, everyone's doing excellent. Doing just fine. Before we start the show, big shout out to Woo for sponsoring it. Really appreciate their support. Go check them out. Their links are in the description below. Yeah. Good price action. That's a nice thing to have. We'll talk about Bitcoin first, and then we'll go over some altcoins, and then we'll see what you guys have been up to. Oh, I hate this drawing up here. Sorry about me being not tidy. Fixed it. So yeah, monthly time frame, the GOAT still. I mean, you guys heard me talk about it when we were like when a lot of people were still doubting this, and I was like, this is just a bullish time frame, and it has remained so, and it still is, and yeah, we're just chilling here basically. And I think unless we drop back below 95k, we're good on this time frame. So remain bullish until proven otherwise on the monthly. The weekly time frame, we've had a little bit of a pullback early this week, but nothing tragic. And give me a second, need to mute my phone. And yeah, I mean that we just had a little bit of a pullback, but that's totally fine. Still a valid breakout, not even one that has retested anything. Look at that. We have broken out here above 108, and unless we start dropping below that again, or especially 104k, I think it's just bullish. I will remain bullish until proven otherwise on that front too. It is obviously not the strongest breakout. We've had stronger, but it's also not really that weak. We've had weaker before too, so it's just decent. And given how high price is now, I think that's the most you can expect. So yeah, invalidation here, I think is pretty clear. Like 104k below there, it starts being really ugly. And at this point, we're like, that would be like a 12% plus drop. So I think that's not gonna happen unless the market is bearish, unless we get some trouble on the macro side. And that's always a concern. You never know what Trump gets up to next, but so far so good. And I'll just assume nothing happens until something happens. But yeah, that's the weekly time frame. Daily time frame, like I said yesterday, a little bit of a pullback, nothing tragic. Daily is kind of like the same thing as the weekly time frame. You don't want to fall back below the breakout level. So 110k ish. So this green line here, you wouldn't want to go back below it. I wouldn't even want to retest it. A retest would spook me out. A retest, like if we retest it, I don't think this is going to happen, but if we retest it, I would maybe take some profit on some of the stuff that I have on the bounce, just to make sure. But right now, still liking it. Are you upside down? No. I've been bullish the entire way. People have been trying to pretend like I've been bearish, but yeah, I've not been. I've just been lazily bullish. I overtraded ETH on low time frame and now I'm sidelined. Cope. Yeah, I hate when that happens. Just gotta zoom out, bro. So yeah, that's that. Like I said, the Bitcoin just looks good to me. I've seen a lot of people freak out, and I mean, I get it, but also, like, I don't know. I don't necessarily see it. And then when we go to ETH, that's gorgeous. The monthly time frame reigns supreme. Look at that. Our support held, we bounced, we reclaimed the range, and we are up like a lot now from the range reclaim. Why are you not working? There you go. Like that's up 50% from the reclaim and 140% from the low, which is really nice. And it's still nowhere close to where I would start looking for profit taking. My invalidation before was kind of like losing this area. Now it's losing 2.2, 2.3K. So that's where my invalidation's at. And if we break out above 3K, like 3.7 here, like I generally don't see any good resistances until all-time high. I don't really consider 3.7 a good resistance. I don't consider anything a good resistance on ETH anymore. I think all of these are shit, to be quite honest. I'm just expecting this to go up, and I'm just gonna raise my invalidation as we go along. And yeah, if we break above 3.7, it's pretty clear that we're gonna go to all-time high. But honestly, at this point, I'm already assuming all-time high, even though we are getting into an area of prior resistance, just because that resistance has kind of been tested enough of times. The narrative strong enough. I don't really see a point in being bearish into that resistance. I'd rather hold. On the weekly time frame, we talked about this for the longest time. The trade was basically like reclaim this, and then target all-time highs with an invalidation of basically the lows. And I mean, that's worked out quite well. It's running, and I generally, like how I think about these kind of trades is that the invalidation is now this low down here, and this losing this cluster would also kind of make me probably take profits. I got a pretty bad entry on this on the left side, averaged down a little bit, but still we kind of used my entry as resistance for the longest time, but now I'm finally in profit on that one, which is neat. And yeah, I mean, we talked about like resistances like last week, like resistances being tested this many times. They just don't tend to hold, and that's exactly how it played out. So like I said, this trade now basically hard invalidation below 2.2, soft invalidation with a close below this box, and target is just above all-time high, for me at least. Doesn't mean anyone has to copy whatever the fuck I'm doing. But that's how I look at it. I think all-time high just makes sense, especially given like this is basically a range reclaim as well. So we have a high time frame range reclaim to a low time frame range reclaim. I just like these. Too late to buy more ETH now, or where would be a good entry? I am the worst person to ask this, because whenever like something runs and people ask me like, hey, where should I buy this? I'm like, you should have bought it before it went up, like when we talked about it, because I suck at chasing stuff up. Like I just suck at it. I'd much rather just hold, like buy something when it's low and then take an L if it goes lower, rather than chase something up. So if you ask me for advice on where to buy something while it's already running, you should have luck. Generally, there is a support at 2.9K. like if we close somewhere at 3 and then next week some FUD event hits, basically, like you basically reliant, for an entry, you're reliant on macro kind of going to shit. Because we're either, from this point on, we're either gonna just keep running if macro stays good, or we're gonna get a macro dip, and then we keep running, right? What I don't think is gonna happen is that the crypto markets are gonna go down by themselves without the market just being done. So basically, the only dip that you're gonna get, like, is gonna be a tiny one, unless the market is just done, or like I said, Trump does something, for example. Like the S&P drops 5%, you're gonna get a good dip on this as well. But otherwise, if you get a dip, you're probably gonna buy the top, if it's not caused by anything macro related, in my opinion. I could be wrong on this. I mean, I'm just holding, but that's just kind of how I look at it. And that dip would basically be like this support / down here. I think, like, let's say you close here, something weird happens in the next weeks, you dip down here, and then you can, if it's macro related, you're gonna bounce sharply. If it's not, if it's just the market being weak, I think you're gonna bounce a little bit and then just fall off, and then it's over. That's kind of how I look at it. But like I said, I'm terrible at chasing things, so maybe that's just my position talking. I do not know. Oh, so many people asking things in chat. This is the easiest part of the cycle. We just need to wait. Yeah, basically, you have to have balls to wait. And I mean, if it turns around, like I said, like, this is the worst place to turn around. Like, if it turns around, you have to be really, really careful. But it's also the most unlikely to turn around here, in my opinion. So if we get a big dip, we should sell the bounce. It depends on what the big dip is coming from. Like I said, like, if the big dip is a macro dip and everything is going down, the good chance you don't want to be selling the bounce. But if it's just like a crypto related dip, then probably, yeah. Basically, and the reason why I'm saying this is because I think we're smack dab in the middle of the ponzinomics of the market. You have a bunch of companies buying a shitload of Bitcoin, and if they fail at this point, like after a small breakout, to push price higher, I think we're kind of cooked. You wouldn't expect deep pullbacks. I think we're still in that vertical phase, and you don't want to interrupt that unless it's a macro dip, like a good excuse to dump, and then you can run back up. That's fine. But yeah, the whole like Bitcoin ponzinomics, I think, are in full swing. I wouldn't expect too big pullbacks unless it's over, which I don't think it is. But yeah, that's ETH USD on the weekly time frame. On the daily time frame, just going completely nuts. I love it. I don't really see a point in flipping anything. I'll be watching this, basically, this box. It's the most important one. Don't want to lose the range low either. Like, those two areas, the most important. The only areas of interest for me. So if it dips, that would be where you want to look. And then you need to figure out what the cause of the dip is and if it's going to reverse or not. So for the guy asking what kind of dip can I buy, maybe those. I don't know if you're going to get it. No idea. Usually when you're in the part of the market where we are right now, everything just goes vertical and doesn't look back. So, but it's hard to say. ETH BTC, same story. The monthly time frame is the one that we were watching. That capitulated, we talked about that, and is now bouncing. Very, very tiny bounce, all things considered, but also in comparison to other altcoins, this didn't really go down that much. Like, it's quite funny, like, people were hating on ETH a lot, but it's like down 68% against Bitcoin from the high. I think like 99% of other altcoins would wish they were only down 68%. But yeah, finally getting to an area of resistance again. So that's going to be an interesting one. We reclaim this one. And I think the trend is reversed. Right now, this could still just be like a bounce. But I like the chances. And I like how ETH is positioned generally. But it is at resistance, ETH BTC is. ETH BTC on the monthly time frame, you don't even need to start talking about it. And on the daily is too low of time frame. I think the only time frame that's really relevant is the weekly time frame. But that's also quite a good move, right? Like we had a little bit of a strong bounce into a pullback into another move up. I'm just gonna hold. I like ETH. People were hating on ETH the entire time. I think that isn't quite done yet. The hated rally of sorts. So we just buy and close our eyes. I mean, it's one way to do it. I bought a long time ago and closed my eyes, and that's doing quite well now. But yeah, gotta be nimble in these circumstances. I generally think we should be running, and if that doesn't happen, we're in trouble. That's pretty much how I look at it. Don, have you moved? How was it? No, I haven't yet. Still to come. Still a month to go. Cred was just front running my move for whatever reason. What on earth is the Ripple team doing since Trump election? They really waited for the green light. I mean, the Ripple team, right? And like with the whole XRP thing, right? And I mean, I was a hater of XRP for the longest time. Basically, they were being sued for years and years, biggest target, and kind of like stuck. And then they won. Trump got elected. And they were suddenly in a position where, even though they were being fucked by the courts, they were still holding up in the top 10 of crypto for years and years and years with like a big fan base, right? And now they don't have that overhang. Now they can start doing whatever they want to do. And they also dumped a shitload of XRP over the last 10 years on people, so they're beyond rich. And they also had like 99% of the XRP. It's not like it's with different coins that are super decentralized. The Ripple people have like most of the XRP and most of the money. Like they have a shitload of money, and can kind of make use of that in an admin that likes to make money. And so therefore I think they're like quite well positioned. We'll talk about XRP in a second. But basically that's what I saw. I was like, hey, the court cases, they're gonna win it. Was pretty clear that they would be. This is the reason why I was shilling it so hard. It's 0.57. I was like, this is pretty clear that they're gonna win. Trump is gonna be president. Or is already president. I don't remember. I think he was about to be president. And I was like, okay, this is the perfect combo. They're gonna win, so all the XRP fanboys are gonna feel vindicated, and they're gonna shill it to their families. They're gonna be, and they're kind of like, they have connections in all the high places. It makes it scummy to me. Like obviously I'm not the biggest fan of how all of this works, right? But as a trader / sometimes investor, I'm like, okay, it's just a pretty free layup. And then I just took it, and then it ran, and now it's starting to run again, and that is actually really interesting. I think it's the most interesting coin right now, of the big caps anyway. This is the chart, right? And I have on stream in the last couple of weeks, while we're trading like at $1.8, $2, whatever, compared kind of like this movement to the one that we had in 2017. I still think that is quite accurate. Just the price action just very much reminds me of how we were trading back then. So I would expect a violent month or 2 or 3 of upside if the market allows it. If not, obviously this is not going to play out the same way, but generally I like how it's set up. And I mean, maybe that's my 0.6-ish average talking, but I just like it. I like the chart, and I like how they're set up. On the monthly time frame, come from support into resistance. We've tested out resistance before, but it's only once, so still got to be a little bit careful around that resistance. On the weekly time frame, same kind of story. I actually like this chart better. On the weekly time frame, we had a range with a little bit of chop here, but generally a range. It's better on the daily time frame, but at the range, put a bunch of lows in, broke out of the range. If you want to see a better look at the range, this is it. We had a range here, broke out to the upside, fell back into the range, tested the bottom of the range, had a false breakdown, and then just been kind of ranging since. And we've had a breakout like 4 days ago ish, and yeah, I doubt we're going to get another false breakout. I think this is just going to be the breakout, and it's just going to make new all-time highs. Like, I'm expecting new all-time highs on this. It's not that far away anyway. Most other altcoins are horrendously weak in comparison. So you think they are past the shameless dumping for now? I think they're in the process of looking for new exit liquidity. They don't necessarily, I don't think they're done with the dumping. And I think XRP is going to go lower than where it is right now, eventually. I just think it's perfectly set up. Like, if you explain crypto to like a boomer, and then you mention XRP, this is where they're like, ah, shit, yeah, that's interesting. It's even when I started, and I invested like a bunch in I started with Bitcoin, then with Dogecoin, and then I heard of XRP, and I was like, this is the most brain dead play that you can make. Like, it's so simple, so easy. Like, that's always gonna go up. And I mean, I was pretty young back then, and that was still appealing to me. I think it's basically like, just generally, you put a crypto in a suit. This is XRP. Right? Like, it just looks professional to outsiders. Doesn't look professional to insiders. Doesn't really matter. It looks professional to the outsiders. So I think they're pretty well positioned to capture a large influx of like a bunch of new people, a bunch of boomers, like these company buying strategies, whatever. The only coins that I could see them really realistically be interested in would be Bitcoin, ETH, and like something like XRP. But I could be wrong there. I mean, like I said, I'm a backholder from 0.6-ish. And then now it's like worth like 5x that. And I'm still bullish. Any targets? Yeah, we can look at targets. So generally, if this breaks out, which I think it will, I mean, there exists a chart out there where I was like at 0.6 or 0.7 or something. I tweeted this exact chart with the exact lines that you have on here right now. And my target was basically 6.9. And I still think like that's realistic. I even think there's a chance we overshoot it. But yeah, that's the next resistance. It's a meme line. For whatever reason in crypto, people find it funny. Like 42, 69. There's a bunch of others. And like any of those, any round numbers attract price. So like 6.9, $10, $5 also, but I think that's too close to price. So that's the nearest one. And if that breaks, I think it's just going to be going vertical for a little bit and then collapse again afterwards. So I'm just going to see how it goes, look for momentum, and start scaling out the higher price goes. 589, yeah, I know the meme, but I think it's too low. But I could be wrong. How do you time the top of altcoins if you feel you've spotted the Bitcoin top? Will they top at the exact same time, or will altcoins run a bit longer than Bitcoin? It's a good question. Generally, altcoins run longer. I even think like this time around, altcoins would run longer. But it's a risky kind of way to look at it because the market is very different for now than it used to be. But generally, in the past, altcoins have been running longer. So you would see the Bitcoin top, get a massive pullback on Bitcoin, and then the altcoins still run. Yes, perfect combination of supply control, fraud, and cult community. I've seen a few TikToks about XRP, basically none about Bitcoin ETH. Yeah, pretty much that. It is also the perfect idiot magnet, which, I mean, you saw what Hex did last cycle. I think it's basically in that same, just not as, I think it's just not as bad, but everyone can make up their own mind on that. How would you act if you didn't have any XRP position here? Just buy a spot and close your eyes, or try to zoom in and trade it? I mean, I would have bought it. I talked about this while we were trading at the range lows. I constantly talked about XRP at $2. Like every time we hit $2, I was like, I mean, it just looks good. So I would have bought it at $2. Right now, there's no way, if I didn't have any position right now, there's no way I would buy it. But also, I'm notoriously bad at breakout trading, and like basically if I didn't have a position, I bought it now, it would go down. If I didn't have a position and didn't buy it, it would go up. Right. So like I'm good at buying the dips. I'm good when it crashes. I'm good with that kind of stuff. I just don't like breakout trading. It's too much up to chance for me. Like I like it when people are stressing out, losing their mind over the market going down, and I can see that something is somewhere where they're just making a mistake that I can capitalize on. It's like one thing. But when I basically rely on other people to rush in to bail me out, it's like harder for me. So like, is this one of the strongest coins? Yes. Which means like, technically it's the one that you should be trading, but how you're gonna do that, don't ask me. Like I said, I'm happy that I have my position, don't have to do anything. But yeah, 6.9 target 1, and then like around $10 target 2. Don't know if that's ever gonna hit. Don't know if any of these are ever gonna hit, but I like my chances. XRP BTC also completely starting to go ballistic. Retested support, bounced, at least on the low time frames. Higher time frames don't look so crazy, but this daily chart is hilarious to me. This is monthly support, it doesn't have anything to do on the weekly. But basically, to me, the uppermost upside that I can see on XRP would be the upper range. That has been my target from the start, which would be a 3x from where we are right now, which would mean that if Bitcoin doesn't move, that'd be at $9. I don't think it's gonna go higher than that. If Bitcoin moves higher, the ceiling moves higher. But basically, if we ever hit the range high, I will sell everything. But it doesn't really have to. We're already quite high up. Since I bought it, it's basically up 200% against Bitcoin. Like I said, I'm aiming for higher. My target is still range high-ish. The closer we get to there, the more bearish I become. Right now, I'm still bullish. Target for ETH. Will you use PA or sentiment to exit? My target for ETH is just beyond all-time high. And then I see how price action is. Like if price action is shit at 5K, I'm going to sell at 5. If it's shit at 7.5, I'm going to sell at 7.5. But I will take profit. Like I think the moment we start making an all-time high, I'm going to take like a good chunk off. Not because I think it's going to go down, just like it's easier to sleep that way. I like this cycle, I have told myself that I will always just like slowly reduce my positions instead of trying to aim to sell the top, just for the simple reason that I don't want to be stressed about it anymore. I don't want to be the guy that has to look at the chart 24/7. That has been me in the past. That is like what I'm good at, but this is not the life that I want to live anymore. So like, don't expect me to say like last cycle when Bitcoin was trading here, like I was like, oh yeah, be bullish until proven otherwise, and then we went down, and then I was like, we lost 60K, and I was like, okay, like to sell everything, like it's fucked. That is not gonna happen again. Like I'm just slowly gonna scale out of positions, and then go from there. And at some point, I will sell everything because I'm like, this is enough for this cycle for me. But that doesn't have to be the top. I'm not trying to aim for the top. I'm just trying to aim for good enough this time around. Do you think there's complacency in the markets with Trump and the tariffs? Like everyone thinks he's going to tackle and he might be actually serious one day. I don't think he's ever going to be serious, but I think there's still complacency. I'm not too worried about him actually being serious. I think like every time there's going to be pain, Trump is going to like chicken out, like just straight up. I think that's just how it's going to be. But I think if he does enough damage, basically, that doesn't show up in the market, and then basically it suddenly shows up, and this is something that happens quite easily. Like you do damage and it's not really it's not really visible, and then suddenly something cracks and it's completely fucked. And I think that's where I would think people are complacent, because I think that risk is quite high. I'm not really thinking people are too complacent about Trump chickening out, because I think he's always going to chicken out. I think that one, people are rightfully complacent. I'm more worried about him unknowingly destroying something that he shouldn't be destroying, and that's going to cost us. Do you see XRP outperform ETH on monthly time frame? I like them both. I think I like the position XRP is in better than the one that ETH is in, but I have both. So I don't really care which one outperforms which one. I think XRP is gonna be the better trade, like quite significantly. So I mean, I'm already at 5x. I think if XRP does another 2x, and ETH does another 2x, I'm quite happy. So like my position on ETH would be up like 3x or something. And my XRP position would be up 10x. So I think like XRP was and I don't think ETH's ever gonna catch up to that XRP trade, like my position on ETH. But I think like at this current point, I'm just slightly in favor of the XRP trade. But I don't know, like long term, beyond the cycle, I think ETH is the better trade. So if you like talking about investment kind of thing, I think ETH's better. I think trading wise for the rest of the cycle could be XRP. But I like them both, so I have them both. Don, what does shit price action at the top look like? I mean, just if you're really curious, just like go back and look at past shit price action. This one is one example where we had an all-time high, we broke down, we had a nice kind of push up, and then we pushed up once, failed to hold, ranged, pushed up another time, failed to hold, and then just lost this prior consolidation. And in combination to just this price action just not being the best, because it's not terrible, honestly. Like this price action isn't terrible. Obviously what followed was terrible, but at this point you cannot really tell what's going to happen. But also the way altcoins were trading. Basically altcoins were super hot. Everyone was kind of like sentiment was high. People were like completely losing it, taking riskier and riskier bets, and then you can just tell. Like if price action is like this and everyone is just losing it, hyper bullish, and altcoins are flying, people are betting more and more and more, that combination is deadly. It's not necessarily just this price action. So you want to watch out for that. Basically, the moment you get like a Bitcoin like kind of weakness, and but meanwhile you're getting altcoin like insane strength and people just risk taking a shitload, that's enough for me usually. But it's a gut feeling that I have more so than just like perfectly analytical kind of, okay, this happens, then this happens. No, it's just like I could in the past. Doesn't mean that I have like that I'm going to be able to do it in the future, but in the past few cycles I've been able to kind of accurately tell that we're getting close, and then I see that kind of price action, I know, okay, good enough. Selling in a bull market can be very difficult at times. Yeah, man, preach. I still remember, like we were in here in 2017, and this I will never forget. This was basically, I went through my first cycle and it was a really, really good one. I was up only for years and years and years, right? And like some of the best up only that we had. Market just completely went nuts. And we were up here and I was certain that it was over. We had that crash, we had like a little bit of a bounce. I had sold like most of my Bitcoin already on this rally here because I was just like, this is too crazy, it's too much. But that I think was a little bit on the luckier side. And then the altcoins, we had this kind of like secondary leg and then went down here at 14K. And I was like, okay, I did this, just like everything's just about to collapse. And I sold everything. And I was literally like, I ran to the toilet and had to puke after. So, I mean, it was my first cycle. And I was like, I just need like another 2x or 3x. But I was like, this market is just, it's cooked, man. It's cooked. But pressing that button, I will never forget. Like sitting down that day and just going through everything and selling everything. I will never forget. The feeling. And like I said, I got done with it and then I went to the toilet to puke because I was so stressed out. And worked out in hindsight, but selling's not easy when everything's going up. You're always going to have like, you're like, oh, another 2x, another 3x, and then you are there and it's like another 2x. You actually puked? Yeah, I actually puked. Like in real life, I was puking positions and then when I was done, I actually puked. We'll never forget it. And yeah, basically like you will always have another 2x 3x that you're waiting for, and when you get it, there's another 2x waiting for you, and then another target, and you're like, oh, if this happens I can buy a house. And then the next thing is, okay, if this happens I can buy my family houses. And then you're like, and then you're just putting higher and higher targets, and at some point you just miss selling, and then it goes down 90% and you're fucked. Cannot recommend. Seen a lot of my friends go through that, just never selling, and then selling in the bear market because they have to. So gotta be careful with that. But also, like, if you sell everything and the market keeps running, what other people do, they sell everything and then they buy back, and they buy back with more because they're trying to make back the lost gains, and then they get even more fucked than the ones that are just selling low. Don, when you first saw life-changing UPNL, how did you manage to not lose your mind in the euphoria? It's what ends most traders. I mean, I got quite lucky in the sense that, like, I had all of that, like, during one of the greatest bull runs of all time, where, like, it was just years and years of upside. So you kind of get used to it a little bit. And I never really had the whole, okay, like, I need this and this more, I need this and this more. I was always like, holy shit, this is a lot. Like, that's enough for me already. And then I was like, but I'm being, like, I always have the instinct of, okay, like, this is already, like, more than plenty, I should be selling. And then I have to talk myself into holding the trade rather than the other way around. Like, it's harder for me to hold than to sell, usually. So, like, I'm a constant fighting with myself, and my like me, I'm like, okay, this needs to be closed, rather than like, oh, I need to make this and this amount more. But I think that's generally the most damaging that you can be to yourself, if you're like, oh, if I just need this number to be this and that, because then you're just gonna, like, this arbitrary gambling, and it's not good. So you didn't get too greedy? No. If anything, I'm too, like, I should be more greedy. Like, I've never had that problem. Like, I should be more greedy to make more of the opportunities given to me. I think, if anything, I miss out on too much rather than greed too much. But this is what I'm saying when I, like, people always ask me, like, hey, what should I be doing? And I'm like, it's really hard to answer because everyone is different. And some people are more greedy than others. Some people, like, are really good at kind of pushing it really far. Some people are really bad at it. So you kind of have to figure out what you're good at and how to take advantage of it. I know that I'm pretty good at not being greedy, for example, and I can take advantage of that. But I also know the weaknesses of that, which is basically that you're going to miss out on a bunch of stuff. Sometimes you sell and it still goes up 2x, but that's just how like the game is played. And the other way around, if you're too greedy and you hold too long and it just runs and it just round trips on you, that has ups and downsides too. And you just need to know how to take advantage of that and about like basically how you work. Anyway, yeah, it's basically just like a little bit of a Bitcoin waiting game. And the altcoins are picking up, which is usually like for Bitcoin, not the best sign. I generally think that is the most worrying sign that we have, like not this like pullback or whatever. It's that we get like a bunch of like big altcoin rallies, but so far it's not big enough to worry me just yet. I think it would need to be a little bit bigger. But yeah, like I said, XRP I like. Someone asked for Litecoin. I posted a chart like, what was that, yesterday? When it was trading like in the low 90s on Twitter. And now it's trading at 100. It's actually moving quite nicely. It's just this still. I don't fucking know what to say about it. But every time I talk about this, the entire market nukes. So so we shall pretend that I never talked about this. But I like the ascending triangle kind of thing. What means a little bigger, like 50% altcoin move in a day. Like XRP goes up from $3 to $5 in a day, kind of thing. $4, $4.50. ETH goes from 3.3 or like from 4 to 5, like something like that. While Bitcoin's showing weakness, that'd be more worrying. Like those kind of big movements while Bitcoin is struggling, it's a little bit more scary than, okay, Bitcoin's up 2%. XRP's up 5%, ETH's up 7%. Like, so what? Like, that's not too bad, especially with how they've been struggling. Solana, we talked about this too, still holding that support. I like the Sol BTC monthly chart the best. Holding support, bouncing a little bit on the Sol BTC pair, which means the Sol USD pair is going up. And I mean, we talked about this. Basically higher low confirmed and pushing into resistance again for the second time. I like the chart. I still think it's gonna underperform other coins, but it's not a bad chart. Like, if I wanted to hate, I could try, but I don't see the point. It's not a bad chart. If you were completely sidelined, how would you allocate given things are up so much in the past days? Like I said, I'm really bad at this. If I was completely sidelined, I'd probably just sit out and hope that I'm going to get an entry. Otherwise, I think we're basically like, but this is me, right? And this is not good advice for like 90% of people, but this is me. But I'd probably just be sidelined until I see a really good opportunity. And that could be a bounce after the bull market is done. Like, this is just how it is. Like, for me, the only options are I buy the lows or I don't buy. Like, that's me. Now, if you cannot live with the fact that you didn't buy at 120 before Bitcoin went to 180K, before maybe going back to 100, then that's not for you. You have to breakout trade with tight stop loss. Yeah, I mean, you can try, see if it works. It's like I said, it's just asking for my advice for breakout trading is ill-advised. It's not what I do. Like, I don't breakout trade. Like 99% of the time, I don't breakout trade. Like, could I have added to XRP at any of these points? Like, was I pretty sure that the moment we broke 2.5, we would go to 3? Yeah, but I'm happy with my position. And I just held it. So I just don't do that kind of trading anymore. Every XRP taxi driver is in profit now. Yeah, love it, huh? I struggle with trend trading because I always want the lower entry then and end up not getting on board. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but just like if you're bullish on something, buy it. Like generally, like it seems pretty straightforward, but isn't really for people. But like you're bullish, just buy it. You don't like the chart, I mean, then you just wait until the chart looks a little bit better. And if you really suck at this, and you're like, oh, I always want lower, and then I'd never end up buying, then as it goes lower, draw out where you would be buying, right? For example, like very obvious for Bitcoin in this instance, in my opinion, was like a reclaim above 90K. We talked about this on the show. We talked about this on Friday shows with Cred. Basically, we reclaimed, and yeah, you lost like a bunch. You could have bought a lot lower, but you could have also bought a lot higher. The moment we reclaimed that old range, there was a pretty straightforward trade. Like bottom of the impulse move that took us above the range low as invalidation, entry here, and then your target basically is a new high or higher, right? And that, like, even if you suck at kind of like breakout trade, like this is not a breakout trade for me. This is a range reclaim trade. This is where you still buy the bottom-ish. It just went below the range. Like you basically, this is the range and you went like this and went down, did a bunch of this. For me, this, if I didn't buy this didn't ever happen. Like it's just a false breakdown. Like this is just fake. So if I buy here, I'm still buying the bottom for me in my mind. Whereas if I'm buying here, like at that point I'm buying into like a strong up move, breakout trade, whatever, and then usually it does this and just fucks off. This is still fine for me. This not so much. And you can kind of like, while we're trading down here and you're waiting for lower, you should kind of map out where you're like where you want to jump in if it goes higher. You have to make that plan in advance, and this would be one of them. Like that was a pretty good trade. Talked about it on the show multiple times. Same with ETH, right? Like we talked about the ETH trade. Even if you didn't buy like 1.5, whatever, I said the moment we reclaim this, it's probably just gonna go. And then you had like some time during this up candle to buy into it, or during the during the pullback, and invalidation was always a close below down here. And then you just look at it that way. You're still slow, you didn't buy the bottom, doesn't really matter. But it's the only way that I can trade these things. If you ask me like, hey, we're just in this candle, what should I do? It's hard to say. If you come to ask me, hey, like in 3 weeks if we do this, then I can give you a little bit more of an accurate kind of plan, depending on, like I said, how we got there. You're still holding your smaller XRP ecosystem coins? Yeah. I mean, I was up on them infinite, and then I was down on them a little bit, and now they're basically up like a little bit again. If I haven't really checked too much, but if I, from the cursory glance that I took at them, they're doing quite all right now. But they were not doing so well when the market was down. Which memes you hold in XRPL, big ones? I have a bunch. I just bought a bunch just for the hell of it. I was like, I made a bunch of money on this XRP trade. I'm just going to take a percentage and just fire it into a bunch of ecosystem on XRP just for the hell of it. And ended up being the top holder on a bunch of them. Or like not that top holder, but one of the top holders. Because they're so tiny. That's why I'm not talking about them. Because it doesn't really make much sense. But yeah, I have a bunch of those still. Probably, I don't know what to do with that. Are you looking to scale out of ETH or single full TP? I'm gonna scale out this time. Usually I would full TP, this time I'm gonna scale out. Can we have a look at Bonk? It's one thing that I really don't care about, but just for you. I mean, that's a strong chart. It's one of the stronger memes. You have a bunch of Twitter personalities pushing this, so I'm not too surprised. But I think in this case, like chart-wise, useless. Like the monthly is just chop, the weekly is just chop. The daily is just straight up. So like chart wise cannot really do much with it. If you think those people promoting the Bonk ecosystem, and I mean there's Bonk Fun now or something, right? Like the launch pad. If you think that has a future, I think that's a bet. But chart wise, I think if you're doing TA on this, you're a little bit lost. This is just like a whole, like you like what's going on there. I mean, then be my guest. You don't, then I wouldn't touch it. Like this is also another one where it's like it's also up a bunch. Like where are you gonna buy here? I don't know. What are you gonna target? Also really hard to say. I'm not really in the Bonk ecosystem. I think this is more of like one where you have to be in the thick of it. And if you're not, you should probably stay away. And if you are, I mean, be my guest. You're gonna feel pretty soon if the attention like goes away, and then you just need to act on that. And as long as the attention stays, I mean, it's a good chart. Where do you see Pepe if ETH goes to all-time high? I don't know. Like it doesn't have to go up just because it's on ETH, but I do like the chart. We had like a little bit of a false breakdown here. Retest a little bit like Solana. It's not too bad. It is a little bit of a head and shoulders, but we'll ignore that. It's also like the second test of the shoulders, so maybe it'll invalidate the head and shoulders and fuck those people over. But yeah, I don't necessarily mind it. I generally like, I think the rotation into like from basically a bunch of Solana things to ETH is not fully complete yet. I think that's still has a little bit of power, but I could be wrong on that front. Not an expert on memes or any of the like. Do you know something we don't about XRP, lol? Because how could you hold any crypto other than Bitcoin during the AIDS macro in Q1? It's just basically, and the reason why I was so content in holding this is quite simple. I'm like, I want to hold crypto, and I think there's no better altcoin to hold than XRP right now, like XRP and ETH basically, and other than Bitcoin. Like Bitcoin's obviously kind of safe, but then I was like, just risk to reward wise, it's just a good fit. And given that I, like I said, take a bunch of profit along the way, I'm not too stressed about stuff this time around. So I wasn't really stressed for 1 second. I mean, you can go through all the streams and listen to the way I talk about XRP. I was like, I think this just goes up, and it goes up. And it's going up. But no, I don't know anything extra other than the stuff that I told you guys about, which is basically, I think they're perfectly positioned for for crypto to go up. And if crypto goes up, I think XRP is going to be one of the better ones. And then I was like, okay, I'll just hold. Not too difficult. I took trades, but no way I'm holding spot through all that. I mean, it always depends on your size, on like, I just wanted crypto exposure. I was like, what else am I going to put my money into? And then I was like, might as well have some crypto. And if I'm already going to have some crypto, I'm going to have some of this. It's basically my thought process. Isn't it risky that the S&P has reached all-time highs with no major correction and a huge wick showing on the monthly chart? I don't know, where, where you come from. This is a huge correction, dude. Like, what we just went through is a huge correction. It's really funny to me, like the Trump people, they're like, oh, we're at all-time high. Like, I was so right about everything. But basically, like, I mean, he got elected, right? This shit is up, like, what, like, since Trump is elected, like 4 or 5%. Usually, like in that time frame, right? Like in those whatever, like months that you have in here, like half a year ish, the market is up much more, right? Like just look at the history. Like this thing always has gone up. So the fact that we're only up 4% is a testament of how bad it's actually gone, and we just went through a correction. So technically, no, I'm not worried about this kind of price action at all. Basically, I had like a tariff nuke, and then we had a bounce when people realized, like, back to the levels where we were at. Especially, like, what people don't realize is that during this time, the dollar went to nothing, right? Like like you lost a bunch on the dollar side of things. So like this is like technically we're even down. So I don't know, like I don't really see it that way, but I do think, like I said, that there's a little bit of risk that Trump actually fucks something up that is actually damaging long term. So got to be careful with that, but just this price action doesn't worry me at all. It's like you have like bad news and you have this bounce, and like because the bad news invalidates itself ish, and then you're like, oh, we didn't have any pullback on this bounce. It's like, dude, we had this entire pullback here because of that bad news, and now it's fully reversed and we're back where we started at. It's exactly the situation where we're in right now. Like technically speaking, this was the pullback, and now like we just went sideways. Like you can ignore the wicks down here. Basically just went sideways since the Trump presidency. Don't forget this is dollar denominated. It's much lower for us euros. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like basically it's down. So like when the dollar just nukes beyond belief and this thing isn't going up, means you're essentially losing buying power. Start from the day of the election, you sound extremely biased, my man. Yeah, I might be. I think whatever Trump is doing is quite stupid. And I mean, the whole Epstein thing is just like, yeah, sounds like a lovely individual that people are cheering for. I don't understand, but I could be biased, and it doesn't really matter, you know. Like you don't have to take my opinion for it. I'm just sharing whatever I think, and probably biased, yeah. I don't. Just a quick, like whenever you don't like someone, you're gonna be biased. It's just how it is. Like you don't like your neighbor, you're gonna think he's much worse than he actually is. Trump saved the economy. Yeah. Do you think altcoin zeitgeist top signals will be different this cycle because of TradFi pumping Bitcoin outside of CT? I mean, it has been already. I think the end of the cycle is probably going to be similar. I kind of have a feeling it's going to be similar, but the market is very different, so maybe it won't be. But I kind of feel like it's going to be similar. He even told us when it was time to buy. Like, yeah. Like, if you're the only reason why the market goes down and you're like, oh, yeah, now I'm going to stop doing dumb shit. I mean, fair enough. But I think that's a pretty, I don't know, like if Satoshi came back and it was like, oh, I'm going to dump, the entire market dumps. And he's like, oh, now you should be buying. And then he announces he's actually not going to buy. He's not going to dump. He's actually going to like burn it all. It's like, okay, cool. Good job. Very well done. But like I said, maybe I'm biased. Don't take it too hard, my Trump friends. I just don't like the dude. Generally don't like people that are interested in younger girls. Not really my kind of party. Bitcoin has doubled since election day, finding a reason to hate is odd. It's the only thing that I will concede. I think generally like crypto would be lower without him. Not much, but I think be lower. It's kind of funny saying that because I do seem to remember that basically Trump wasn't president for this rally, like from 16K to like above 60. So so that's kind of like a Biden pump and this is a Trump pump. Is that how it works? I don't know. It's always interesting to me how like politics work in America. Very different from the rest of the world. Anyway, enough of that. Like I said, I like the market right now. I generally think there's no real good reason to worry just yet. It needs to be needs to do a little bit more damage to be worrisome. Until then, just enjoy the altcoin pumps. I mean, even Popcat and WIF and whatever going up. When I'm in profit on WIF, you know, something is crazy. Like something crazy is going on. ETFs happened under Biden, but yeah, sure, let's praise Trump for the inflows. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm biased, but Bitcoin doubled under Trump, but not under Biden. Like, bro. I don't know, bro. Doesn't really work like that. New WIF all-time high possible? I do not know. I'm gonna sell the moment it touches $2. But yeah, possible. I think, I don't know, like buying these old memes is quite a risky bet. Is 200K something that is achievable for Bitcoin? I know we don't like speculating, but it feels like we're not done yet. Yeah, I think at some point we're gonna go above that. I don't know if it's this cycle or next cycle. I generally think it's going quite a bit higher than that, but it's always the question of is it this cycle or is it next cycle? I think 200K would even be possible this cycle if everything goes right and the crypto Ponzi businesses Ponzi'd up properly. I think it's still possible, but we're gonna just basically take it as we go. I think that's a pretty good note to end on. We'll see how much the Ponzi can keep Ponziing, and that's kind of the only thing that you have to keep on track on Bitcoin. It's the nice thing about Bitcoin. Like, it's very, very straightforward. The altcoins, you have to consider the team dumping, relative strength, relative weakness, lots of interest, forks, new coins that launch. Bitcoin, you just have Bitcoin. So, like, for the people that like to take it simple, Bitcoin's probably the play. Are you going to short the highs? No, not interested. It's what I did in the past, aggressively so even. I'm not interested in that anymore. Me selling is already gonna be feeling like a short. What was your best multiple? In terms of one coin? Or one trade or whatever? Because, I mean, it really depends. I technically started with $50 in crypto, and I'm living off of it. Have been for the last, I mean, now it's almost 10 years now, so had a multiple. But I never had like I bought this coin and went up like 1000x. Never had that. I've always just like basically traded a bunch of stuff around. Some of my best trades were ETH. Like, most of my best trades were ETH. Like, I bought literally like the Pico low on this on BitMEX with a quite large position, not knowing that basically the contract grows as price goes up, and I was shocked. Like, I was legit shocked at the P&L when it went up. Like, it was multiples higher than I thought it would be, because I didn't quite understand the contract itself. I had a bunch of good trades, but never one where I'm like holding a coin and it just runs for infinity. Like, it's never been my trading style anyway. Tell us a nice bedtime story. No, I mean, that's the bedtime story. Like, I bought here with, like I said, not understanding how the contract worked, which means I bought way too much. And then it just ran, and I made a bunch of like bullish ETH tweets, one of which was, and I don't know if people are still around from that time, where I was like, I'm gonna print out Vitalik's face, like of like Vitalik on like a cardboard printout, and I'm gonna put him in my room so I can pray to him or whatever. And then it ran and ran, and I sold somewhere at 270 or something. If I remember correctly, was quite the insane trade for me. Like I said, because I underestimated how big that contract would grow, and I was actually like I still remember sitting down at Christmas being like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? So that was a good one. There's plenty, but like I said, nothing crazy. Like there's a bunch of shitcoin hunters that bought something and then it's 1000x and like that's their story. Nothing like that. I just always traded. Shorting Bitcoin just because James Win, Wine, whatever, turned bullish. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't do that. The guy lost all his money anyway. Like people always try to counter trade people, and then it's not really how you make an edge, in my opinion. Just trade your own book. Don't start giving a shit about what other people do. It's a waste of time. Don, did you ever go on the tilt spiral? No, usually no. I mean, I've had losing trades in a row, but nothing where I was like, holy shit, I'm losing it. I mean, just need to, like, whenever you start losing it, you need to be self-aware enough and then just take a break and go outside for a week, and then you're going to be fine when you come back. Like the trying to make it back thing, I've never had. I think that's like a very, very bad mentality to have. So like just stay away from the thought of trying to make it back and you'll be fine. Just need to, like, you lost something, you lost it, it's gone now. And then you just need to move on. And if you cannot move on, just leave the house, go take a walk or take a hike or take a vacation for a week and then come back. And then you, in that week or two of being gone, you will realize like, okay, that money is actually gone, because like people like attach themselves to something that isn't anymore. And then they do dumb shit. And that's just the worst. You need to basically, you make a mistake, that mistake is done. You cannot undo that mistake. And by trying to undo the mistake, usually you make more mistakes. You made a mistake, move on, try again, another day. But yeah, I mean, I did have like a bunch of tilting trades in a row, but I've never had that like, okay, I'm down like 80%, I'm losing my mind kind of thing that everyone seems to have had. That's sounds awful. Like I would never trade myself that deep into it. This unironically made me think about my ex and how this philosophy can apply to in real life as well. Damn, yeah. Yeah, I mean the whole sunk cost fallacy slash kind of like being attached to stuff that isn't anymore. Like everything trading you can translate into real life, into lessons for real life. But yeah, anyway, I gotta go. It's getting late. Was fun talking with you guys. Hope you're gonna have an excellent rest of your week. I'll do the Friday show with Cred this week, if he doesn't kick me out again. And yeah, we'll see how the market goes. Fingers crossed it doesn't just pico top here at 120k and I look like an idiot. Possible. Has happened before that I look like an idiot, but we'll see. But hopefully on Friday we're gonna talk with higher prices even, and then next week maybe with even higher. I'd be down for it. If not, we just pretend this never happened. Much love. See you guys soon. Bye bye.